What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Stand Tall. It is September 13th, and we are rounding out the 9 situations. So let's dive right into chapter 11 to finish it up. 65. If the enemy leaves a door open, you must rush in. 66. Forestall your opponent by seizing what he holds dear and subtly contrive to time his arrival on the ground. 67. Walk in the path defined by rule and accommodate yourself to the enemy until you can fight a decisive battle. 68. At first, then, exhibit the coyness of a maiden until the enemy gives you an opening. Afterward, emulate the rapidity of a running hare, and it will be too late for the enemy to oppose you. So, accommodate yourself to the enemy. You're their friend, right? You walk the path defined by rule. You do the things you may not want to do, but you're doing that to keep your friends close, your enemies closer, so that when you find the time, you can take them out. At first, then, exhibit the coyness of a maiden until the enemy gives you an opening. So, some people would call that maybe like playing dumb, um, appear weak when you are strong, that sort of thing. To go back to chapter 4 in Sun Tzu. So let's round out. It looks like there's no reflections from Du Mu or Zheng Yu or Mei Yao Chen or Ho Yang-chi or any of those guys today. So Master Sun says, when opponents present openings, you should penetrate them immediately. Get to what they want first, subtly anticipate them, maintain discipline, and adapt to the enemy in order to determine the outcome of the war. Thus, at first you are like a maiden, so the enemy opens his door. Then you are like a rabbit on the loose, so the enemy cannot keep you out. I love it. Oh, those are some good visuals. Okay, let's go over to the Daily Stoic and see if there are some correlations between, deception for certain strategic victories and things along those lines. So let's go to Ryan Holiday and Stephen Hanselman's work. September 13th, protecting your inner fortress from fear. No, it is events that give rise to fear. When another has power over them or can prevent them, that person becomes able to inspire fear. How is the fortress destroyed? Not by iron or fire, but by judgments. Here is where we must begin, and it is from this front that we must seize the fortress and throw out the tyrants. Epictetus, Discourses 4.1.85-86 and 87a. The Stoics give us okay, well, before I start even, though, it is events that give rise to fear. When another has power over them or can prevent them, that person becomes able to inspire fear. So, how is the fortress destroyed? Not by iron, but by judgments. This is where so that is kind of relating to, go with the order of rule until, where does it say? Get to what they want first, maintain discipline, and adapt to the enemy in order to determine the outcome of the war. So, maintain discipline, follow the rule until it is time, right? Walk in the path defined by rule and be disciplined until you can attack. So how is the fortress destroyed? Not by iron or fire, but by judgments. Seize the fortress and throw out the tyrants. Okay, the Stoics give us a marvelous concept, the inner citadel. It is this fortress, they believe, that protects our soul. Though we might be physically vulnerable, though we might be at the mercy of fate in many ways, our inner domain is impenetrable. As Marcus Aurelius put it repeatedly, in fact, stuff cannot touch the soul. But history teaches us that impenetrable fortresses can still be breached, if betrayed from the inside. The citizens inside of the walls, if they fall prey to fear or greed or avarice, can open the gates and let the enemy in. This is what many of us do when we lose our nerve and we give in to fear. You've been granted a strong fortress. Don't betray it. So the fortress of yourself. But again, this is one of those where, it is interesting and it's kind of like, wow, keeping secrets from my soldiers. And you think of like the Sun Tzu art of war, like actual meaning of it. But then if you try to be metaphorical with it, and we want to talk about keeping secrets from yourself in the sense of like not letting the fear creep in. So I think that is, that's a nice little tidy way to wrap up the 9 situations, is realizing, like, while we were going through those reflections of why why do we not want to tell our soldiers everything? Well, fear, greed, avarice, right? Jealousy, and want of gold and silver and riches. These are the things that can let the enemy in, and the enemy can be defined as a lot of things. And so, whether you want to take that to a not necessarily a religious, but like a seven deadly sins route, kind of way. Fear, greed, avarice, pride, and all of that. Don't give in to fear. Keep standing tall.